I'm ready to do this.
Okay, yeah. Wild Fang, Evil Ninja, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Oh, and no. We have Loud Fang, Able Ninja.
Alright, if we're ready to go, I'll go ahead and give you guys a recap for last session.
Go for it.
Last we left off, a group of 5 adventurers met each other on the House Orion lightning rail, bound for Sharn, the city of towers. After a brief scuffle in the dining tavern car that was interrupted by the group, the entire train was rocked by some invading trolls that burst through the sides of the windows and began killing any and all within the vicinity. The party snapped into action, and with help from the train guards, the blade marks of House Beneath were able to make short work of the trolls. As the train pulled into the station of Terminus and the group departed, they elected to stay together, at least for a short while, as they traveled throughout the city to their destinations. They hired a young human woman named Esvel, a skycoach driver, and one by one stepped onto her conveyance and rocketed off into the sky above the city of towers. Are you alright back there?
Oh, quite well, quite well.
Are we there yet?
Oh, not quite.
Relax, my friend. I mean, after all, Nicholas, we just got on here. It's gonna take a bit more than a moment. It's not teleportation after.
I know, I just... Last time I seemed a little closer. In less time.
Where were y'all headed again?
I believe we were heading to Samael's, his Order of the White Flame, I think it was. The name escapes me at the...
And also Byron's mother-in-law's bakery, where we're going to get some anniversary cupcakes. Oh, I'm so excited.
Right,
as
right.
well as...
And where would you be heading first?
I think we decided to go to the church first.
Okay, and which one were you headed to? That's up in Sovereign Towers, if I'm not mistaken. The Temple District.
Yes, we're headed to the Order of the Silver Flame, the closest temple we have to us.
Oh, if you're looking for the Silver Flame, then you're definitely talking about the Cathedral of the Cleansing Flame.
Yes, please, take us there.
Oh, okay. Let's sit back and try not to fall off the boat. as the conveyance rockets through the air, rising up hundreds of meters and heading straight towards the protective wall around the central plateau. You see other conveyances, other sky coaches of various designs whizzing about, some passing by each other in close vicinity, and a few of them heading straight down towards the rocky crags and crevices that separate the plateaus and the edges of the city. You see larger conveyances, much larger, with giant elemental rings made of fire encompassing the entire breadth of the ships. You see these hovering in some areas at higher towers and others passing overhead, heading off in different directions. And what are you all doing in the sky coach at the moment?
Esbel, I have a question.
Yes, my dear, go ahead.
Have you ever had anyone actually fall out of a sky coach before?
My sky coach? Who have you been talking to?
Alright. Maybe not yours, but maybe you've heard of a story.
I've had people falling from sky coaches? All the time. Usually when they're being reckless, leaning over the edges, and some folk have been known to unfortunately get attacked while traveling from district to district and ward to ward. Unfortunately, we have a bit of a gang problem in the lower levels and some of the middle levels of the city.
Have you ever encountered any of them?
All the time. But I know a few tricks and can usually keep out of their sights. They usually stay away from smaller, non-dragon marked coaches such as this one.
Alright, well thanks for the information.
Oh, absolutely, love. I'm here to serve after all. I'm your driver. If you have any questions at all, please let me know.
So, Siegfried, do you, what's your favorite song to sing?
You know, usually I'd be a bit appalled that you dare think I sing other people's music. I personally write out and perform my own music, sometimes varying a bit with the notes that I hit, you know, keeping it varianted for all the people I play for. Though I'm a bit rusty, I haven't necessarily played around for many lately.
Well, you know, being someone who's traveled quite a bit, I'm sure you have some stories to tell. Maybe, you know, when you've had time to think of one, you should sing it.
All in due time. I mean, a bard must not always just perform out of nowhere, especially in places like this where it can draw some unwanted and sometimes unsavory attention to themselves. It's not always wise to just yell to the world that you're here. But maybe when we're in a tavern or two, I can get us a night or two of free stay. That is, if it's not one of those rumbugs that want to charge you just to look at a beer or ale. I once went to one where they charged you just to sit down on their seats in the front.
Oh, that's all for the status. That's what it's all about. Not a big fan of those places either.
Samael, how are you doing over there? You've been quiet instead of your usual, that person over there is doing something, let me attack them. Are you okay, my...
I wouldn't say I'm all that bad. I'm just impatient. I'm waiting for us to get to the temple so I can go ahead and check in. After that, I'll be a lot more sociable.
Oh yes, I've heard stories of the flame speaking to people at some times. Though, that may also be them going insane, but if you hear any voices, let us know. I'm actually interested in that.
That doesn't actually happen here. That's in another city entirely. But if it does start talking to me, I'll let you know immediately.
I've heard tales that it's not just in a single city, but throughout many. But you probably know more. All I get is a bit of rumors I hear in the bars and taverns from time to time.
Well, I'd be skeptical of anybody saying they're hearing voices, religious or otherwise.
You seem to have a strong feeling about that one. Well, if you need anything, let us know. I'm gonna relax a bit over here. It's been a long day, and from one train ride to another train ride, I might as well enjoy myself.
Yeah, I hear you there. It'll be over soon.
Zara's looking out the window to see if she can see
It's
anything
actually
interesting.
there's actually no windows on this one. This skycoach resembles that of a rowboat. It's open on the edges. There's a couple of wings that extend out from the sides, and a little bit of a tail feather that extends out the back. There is a little bit of a sort of a lean-to that covers the driver area towards the back of the craft, and that's where Esvel is currently. And the wind is a bit blustery. You've been hearing the sounds of thunder, even though there's no clouds in sight at the moment, being so early in the morning, and still quite sunny out. You can still feel the wind blowing and threatening to knock you off if you're not holding on to the edge of this vehicle as it rockets up. A couple of minutes go by, and you finally crest up over the protective wall that encompasses the entire circumference of Central Plateau. And as you rise up, you see many buildings, several of them ornate, many of them setting on individual towers a bit shorter than other towers, and of course you see the towers continuing to stretch up, and up into another section of the city, the upper section of Central Plateau. The skycoach arcs past and around a few of the towers until you come across an area, an open section with a very ornate temple. And in this district you see a wide swath of grass, cut marble, pathways, many people of many different creeds milling about. And of course you see the temple itself, the cathedral, with its very tall pillars, stained glass windows, and you see a great bit of armored individuals, some standing at attention at the entrances, some milling about with hands on pommels of their swords. And as you come to rest in a bit of a clearing near the front of this large building, Esvel says to you all, "Will you need my services for the rest of the day? I believe you said you needed to go somewhere else."
Do you happen to have like a rain cover in case that would kind of, you know, hearing the thunder and all, that might affect our choice of driver?
Are you afraid of getting wet, my love?
Well, no, but
Do a bit of a sly smile and a grin and a wink, and she reaches under and around in the inside of her skycoach in the back, and she pulls out a poncho. And the poncho is sort of it looks like it's made of a silk tarpaulin, and it has a strange look to it, almost as if it's moved. Like staring at it for too long, it seems like the image, the pattern which is on it, seems to shift. And she says, "Oh, I've had this old thing in here for a while. I don't have much use for it. You're welcome to have it if you're afraid of getting wet, my love." And she tosses it to you.
Oh, well, you're too kind. Thank you.
Well, it's quite all right. Always
Nicholas,
happy
look
to
what
help
I
a
got.
customer.
Oh, it looks very. She is very, very generous.
And Zara kind of spins around, so it kind of flares out.
When you do, Nicholas, looking at the pattern on there, you see the pattern sort of kaleidoscopes and spins in various geometric shapes and colors.
Oh, the pattern looks like it's moving. Very, very interesting. It look good on you.
Oh, thank you. So, Samael, what about this tab?
It's supposed to be one of the area, just nothing compared to what we have in Thrain. I need to check in with my order and let them know I'm in the area. I mean, based off the type of work I do, it's not knowing I'm here.
I see, I see. Is it right there? And she kind of points towards the temple, ornate.
Yeah, you can see it from a good ways off. It's humongous.
And looking, you see tabards of iconography everywhere. Silver, flame iconography, just all over the front of this temple. You see a couple of gentlemen standing close to the entrance are actually staying at attention, holding poles with the tabards with the iconography of the silver flame on it.
So, how long will it take you for your business when you're actually...
It shouldn't take me long. I just have to go in, check in, tell them I'm going to need a room while I'm staying here in the city. And as long as they don't have anything for me, I should be back out fairly quickly.
Sounds fun. Long ride, short wait. Sounds fine.
Why don't you come into the entry hall and take a look around?
I think I'll just stick with you. Might as well do something than just stand around.
A loose dog runs across the
Falling
pavilion.
as well.
As you approach the building, you see men and women in full plate mail standing at attention. And as soon as you begin to approach the building, they greet you warmly. And one speaks to you and says, "Oh, come to see the cathedral, I see. What can I do for you today? Can I send you anywhere in particular?"
I'm going to step forward and speak with them. My name is Samael, the Reaper. I am a paladin in service of the Silver Flame from Thrain. I need to speak with my superior and let him know I'm in the area.
Oh, Thrain envoy, I see. Well, you'll want to speak to the Archerophant, Yathana Mora. She's within the cathedral right now. She should have just finished her services if you wish to speak to her.
Very well. I'll head in.
Do the rest of you follow, or are you staying outside?
Siegfried will follow with.
I'm gonna follow too. I'm curious to see what it looks like. Nicholas, are you coming?
Oh, yes.
I'm moving close to Samael. I'd be careful what you say aloud if there's any sensitive information. Those two seem like rather loud mouths, if you know what I mean. Nothing against them, but they seem to not be able to hold secrets very well.
That's a good point. Matter of fact, where are we at right now?
Actually, if you look on the map that I shared with you, of the Middle Wards, you'll see you are here. That is the cathedral.
Okay, are we by ourselves at the moment, or are we surrounded by people?
Well, as you enter into the entranceway, beyond the entrance, you see row after row of benches, seating with plush, royal blue with purple accents, benches. Very, very nice edifice. You see more of the silver flame iconography and tabards hanging from the walls, tapestries, beautiful multicolored stained glass windows that in this early morning light, the light streams in onto the floor, and it creates a myriad of bright colors. And you see some folk milling about. Several of them seem to be getting up from their seats, like they just finished session within the cathedral, and they're all heading various places. Some of them appear to be praying. And ahead of you, you see a dais several hundred feet away from you, and you see what looks like a woman resplendent in silver polished plate mail. But she is wearing what looks like to be a flowing robe that's open but covering the plate mail. Her hair is pulled up behind her, and it is neatly packed into a bun. And you can see that she has silver, almost looks like spear tips, crisscrossed on the back of her bun. But other than that, yes, you're not really bumping into anyone at the moment. They all seem to be minding their business.
I'm gonna pull everybody over to a quiet section of the pews real quick and give them a quick breakdown on the silver flame.
Okay.
Okay, guys, sit down and gather around me real quick. I'm just gonna give you all a quick breakdown of what we're going into.
Awesome.
Okay, so does anybody know anything about the silver flame so far?
Not at all.
You can all roll history checks. If you wish to do so. Siegfried
Knows nothing despite being in taverns all the time.
Zara, Byron...
Paying attention to anything in history.
Zara and Byron know quite a bit about the Silver Flame. Nicholas, in your travels, you've heard quite a bit as well. Although Zara, especially with her connection to the Sovereign Host, she knows quite a bit more.
Apparently, Siegfried's been listening to people tell lies at taverns. Okay, well, guys, of course, you know the Silver Flame is interested in stamping out all evil in the world. Otherworldly enemies that are inherently evil by nature, we stamp them out without mercy. People who are evil and do evil deeds, we have more lenience towards them, but we do not hesitate to stamp them out as well. Now, don't get me wrong, not all members of the Silver Flame are warriors. Most of them are friars, priests. They're generally nice people. You saw how friendly they were at the gates when we came in. They're happy to have you here. But if you came in here and started doing something they didn't approve of, they would not hesitate to stamp you out. Now, that being said, what we mentioned earlier about the voices that talk to people, that's kind of a touchy subject. You see, that happens over in Flamekeep back in Thrain. There's people think the Silver Flame talks to them directly, and it does. It really does. But the problem is that the Silver Flame, according to the church, is going to be the voice of Tira herself. Y'all know who that is, Tira Moran, correct? She's part of the creation of the Silver Flame, along with the Rainbow Dragon that represents the evil half of it.
I think I might have heard of it.
Okay. People think the voice that speaks to them is Tira Moran. The church will steadfastly defend that and say the voice that speaks to them is Tira Moran. But just like in all people, there's good and evil in everything. And a lot of people outside the church believe it's the rainbow-winged serpent that speaks to people. And that is inherently evil. So we don't really discuss the voice too much in here or what it says or what it does because it's kind of a touchy subject with a lot of people. So I would not mention that at all. Let's just go in here, be friendly, be happy, and get out of here.
All right.
Siegfried is drooling in the corner.
Drooling in the corner.
Do I know the relationship between the Silver Flame and Dolahara? Like, are they on friendly terms?
The Dolahar is essentially part of the Sovereign Host, which of course you would know, being a follower of Dolahar. The Sovereign Host consists of many deities, and many of the followers and members of the Sovereign Host, acolytes of the Sovereign Host, they will follow one deity or they'll follow multiple deities at a time. They're very friendly towards one another, though they do keep a bit of a separation. The pavilion of the host, which of course Zara, you would know of, is actually very close in this district to the Cathedral of the Cleansing Flame. The building itself is not as grand. It doesn't have the very tall stained glass windows. It doesn't have tabards flying everywhere. It's a bit more meeker in appearance.
Well, I will say, Samael, I fully respect your beliefs. I know I come from the Temple of Dolahara, and it's maybe not as, what should I say?
Grand.
Quite as severe as the Silver Flame. She's saying this quietly. She's not, like, saying this super loud. But, you know, we definitely believe in good and making sure that the good is brought out in everyone and that evil is stamped out. So, yes, I definitely respect it. I certainly won't do anything to embarrass you, and I hope you would do the same for me.
We really don't have too much problems with other religions. It's mostly just evil cults. As long as you're not sacrificing children, you're pretty much fine.
All right, I don't do that. And she just gives a smile.
That we know of. Okay, well, let's carry on.
She gives an even bigger smile.
All right,
Siegfried wipes the drool off of his chin.
Siegfried, you all right there?
I'm sorry, where are we? I don't recognize anything here. I don't recognize this architecture. Silver, wait, what was the name of the order?
I'm going to snap my fingers in front of his face a couple of times, get him to focus on me. Hey, buddy, we're at church. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, Silver. Oh, yeah. All
right. And with that, we're on our way up to the dais.
As you approach, you see a few acolytes, not armored. Some of them may look like they might be wearing chainmail, but they're all wearing robes of different shades of light blues and silvers, all wearing the iconography. And you see the Archerophant, as she looks up from her podium, she's closing a book, and immediately a warm smile spreads on her face, and her face just sort of lights up, and she says, "Well met, Samael. It has been some time."
Yes, it has. How have you been?
Oh, the work is never ending, of course. Of course, you know this.
Yeah, I keep hearing that we're not as entrenched down here as we are in Thrain, but looking around, it's hard to believe you've made astounding progress in this area.
Well, being the Archerophant of the region has its perks. We benefit greatly from the influence of the Council. The Council has been very generous in assisting us in various programs and ensuring that our word is wide-reaching to the region.
Fair enough. I just wanted to stop by and let you know that I'm going to be in the region operating for a while. Were you made privy to my approach?
Splendid. I was not actually. I actually have a bit of a conundrum at the moment, and I apologize if I seem a bit distracted. And as she says that, she begins looking past you, like as if she's almost expecting someone else.
Is there something we can help with, or are you good?
Oh, I couldn't possibly trouble you, Samael, with such a small task. I'm sure you're tired from your travels.
Yes, we've got a couple more places we need to check in. I've run into some friends here who are going to be, well, hopefully they'll be helping me while I'm searching through the city here. But just to give you a breakdown of what I'm doing, you know what I am, what I'm about, and why I'm here.
Of course.
I'll be doing routine investigations as normal. I'm also investigating a lead. I've heard that Savra Bellabronte is in the area. Have you seen or heard from her?
The moment that you mentioned Savra's name, her face sort of, her whole demeanor changes, and her eyebrows sort of raise up a bit, and she says, Savra, you say? It's funny that you should mention
Yes.
Oh my, how fortuitous. Zavra is actually who I've been expecting to report this morning. She has not reported back from her post at the City of the Dead.
Have you noticed anything strange about her? Any afflictions? Anything different?
Oh. You know Savra. You know how she is. She is headstrong, a very headstrong Goliath. She is extremely private. She keeps to herself. But she has never failed me, and she has never been derelict in her duties, which is why I'm curious as to why she is late. She has not returned from the City of the Dead on time. She was sent there yesterday to relieve Warden Gaius Athar.
Has Warden Gaius returned?
Warden Gaius has not returned. This is why I am concerned. Of course, Warden Gaia is of the Sovereign Host, so it is possible that the Warden didn't go back to the temples, possibly went home, or went somewhere else. Could have left the city for all I know. But still it is
That doesn't sound like him.
Very unusual indeed for someone who is very punctual, and as far as I've experienced with Gaia, has never been late to services. Of course, I haven't spoken at all to the heads of the host. High Priest Thasso has not said anything to me about Gaia. I know this is a bit beneath someone of your stature, but if it is all possible, would you be a dear and swing over to the City of the Dead and see what is taking her so long? I would, of course, I cannot compensate you for this, but
No, it's fine.
I'm sure that you'll figure something out.
This is actually within reason of what I'm here for anyway, so I have no problem doing this.
And obviously the quarters here within this cathedral are at your disposal. If you need to acquire anything, we will attempt to acquire things for you.
Yes, it's possible for me to have a room while I stay.
Absolutely. And she begins looking at the individuals that are around you and says, I'm afraid that I won't be able to accommodate your traveling companions.
That's okay. They've got accommodations of their own, plans of their own, I'm sure. The most you'll ever see over here is maybe Siegfried will come over here and play cards with me every once in a while, and I'll get him to attend a few services.
Oh, well, we are always lucky and very happy to have folks from all over, of different creeds, and to join us in worshiping the Silver Flame.
Well, I'm not sure how much they're going to be working with me, but my companions here are with me for the time being. I'd like to introduce you to them just in case they ever come in or out or possibly need me for anything. And with that, I'll take time to actually introduce each member of the party to her.
Where are my manners? Indeed, Samael. And she steps forward a few steps, and she sort of makes a gesture with her hand, and she says, I am Archerophant Yithanamor. You would say that am the head of the Cathedral of the Cleansing Flame. But I do so much more. Of course, I administer the words of the Silver Flame to the peoples of Sharn. And we do many services and many activities within the city at all times of the year. We do various outreaches, of course. And wherever there is evil, wherever there is vile creatures, we crush them. And she sort of has a bit of a grimace. It turns into a bit of a grin. And her eyes seem like she's staring past all of you for a moment, and then she snaps back to it and she says, oh, but I digress. Of course. Who are you all? Please, don't be shy.
Siegfried makes a grand sweeping bow, taking his hat in one hand as he does so. My name is Siegfried Lockhart. I'm a bard of sorts that travels around. I once did many performances on the borders of the wars to raise morale. Went off the grid for a while, but I've started to return, and can I say, such a beauty as yours makes a man quiver, and tempted to join the Silver Flame for that alone, if it wasn't also for the just mission that I highly approve of. Anywho, maybe I'll think on that. I digress as well. If you need anything, I am more than happy to assist Samael with any of it.
She gives you a bit of a nod, and then she begins to scan the rest of you, eagerly waiting for you to all introduce yourselves.
Nicholas Highhill. At your service, ma'am.
Highhill?
Takes a short bow.
That's a very interesting surname. I can't say that I've ever met one with a Highhill, and an elf at that.
Yes. I came from high elves, and they prefer hills rather than forests.
It's very curious.
And I'm Zara Highhill. This is obviously my husband Nicholas, and she does a little curtsy. I come from the Temple of Dolahara and studying as a war cleric, and meeting Samael. Obviously, it's slightly different, but I think we have the same goal, obviously, of stamping out evil and bringing in the good.
And the light of Dolahar, of course, may her light shine down upon you, Zara Highhill.
Of course. And she might notice there's a on Zara's armor, there's a little tiny sun emblem on it.
And she very, very pleasantly smiles at you, sort of beams a little, knowing now a little bit more about your background. And then her eyes, her gaze, move towards the ranger in the group. And you there.
Good day, I am Byron. Byron Winter. I'm from this fair city.
Byron, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. Tell me, my friends, have you ever been to the cathedral before?
It's my first time, actually, but I've been near in Thrain, actually, before.
Well, we had a bit of renovations over the years. The wars, of course, were not kind to many of the towers, and of course, I'm sure you've heard of what occurred a few years ago in the slums that are known as Fallen in Dura. That was a very unfortunate business.
I'm not sure I have.
And a bit of sabotage, my dear, or at least that is the way that I heard of it. A great structure over that area fell and crushed and killed many people. It was a sad day for us all. The host and the flame together, assisting in the outreach to clean up and find survivors.
Is that what the recent protests were about?
Oh no, you heard about that. No, I'm afraid the protests were about something a bit more unfortunate. The protests were involving the blood of the soldiers, the soldiers, the prisoners of war, alleged prisoners of war, of course, and the missing, all from that horrible war.
Ah, I understand.
There's a lot. Unfortunately, there's a lot of folk who are still unaccounted for, and many of the nations do not wish to share that information.
It's the same in every war.
Indeed. Well, if there's nothing else, feel free to settle in, Samael. Your friends are welcome to stay here within the cathedral as long as they like, while the services will resume again in a few hours. I'm not sure if they're going to have a potluck today. That might be tomorrow or this weekend. Definitely.
Oh, we do that?
Definitely on Sul. I would recommend that you come by on Sul in a few days and participate in the potluck. And if it is all possible, maybe some of you would be interested in volunteering in the kitchen. We can always use a good arm or two to help move things around, or assist with the destitute that have a tendency to come to our cathedral and seek out absolution.
Wow, we're a lot more laid back here than we are in Thrain. You know, I like this.
You are in Sharn now, my friend. Things have changed since when I was your trainer.
Very well. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and I'll get one of the attendants to show me my room, and we'll get out of your hair. I'll let you know as soon as I know something about the City of the Dead.
Please do. I am very worried for her. I know I should not be worried for her, but I fear that this is an ill omen.
If things go as poorly as I think they are, and I have to absolve the issue, do you want me to check with you first, or go ahead and take care of it?
I would only wish that you would follow your teachings.
Very well. Okay. And with that, I'm going to walk away.
It was lovely to meet you, and good luck on that potluck. She and Zara turns and walks away.
It was very lovely to meet all of you. Farewell. I hope to see you all again. And Samael, one of the attendants, young boy, no older than 14, runs up to you and he says, "This way, sir." And he leads you down one of the halls and to a chamber off to the northeast. And he leads you into a modest area. It is not a private chamber. There are several beds, but he shows you where you can a mannequin that you can place your armor on. He shows you a box that you can store things in, and he looks up to you and he says, "So if there's anything that you need at all, my name is Tom."
Thanks, Tom. Run along now. I got it covered from here.
Of course, sir. And he scampers off.
Okay, well, this is good enough to get by on. All right, I'm ready to leave when you guys are.
All right, so Byron, would you like to show us to the bakery?
Could you show the map again, please?
Sure thing. Whoops. Let's try that again.
Lydia's
There you go.
So it's not too far away. We'll have to take another sky.
All right, all right. Well, I'm getting hungry anyways. It might be a good time. What time is it, by the way?
Right now, it is about 9:30.
Do you sell ale at this bakery?
I'm unsure. I haven't been there in a while, but I don't think so. But there is a...
Perfect. Thank you.
There's a tavern nearby, and also, I think the red light district.
You know, I can appreciate that, but I think I'll just settle for the ale. I know it's a little early to start drinking, but you know, there's nothing wrong with a little enthusiasm in the morning, right?
I know there's somewhere near the bakery that I need to stop by myself.
So we'll try to inhale a skycap.
Stigry, what was your destination again?
Jimbles, this gadget shop.
Nicholas, before you exited the coach, Asvel pressed a stone into your hand, which of course you would recognize to be a sending stone.
Okay. I'm gonna pull out the stone and like hit it. Hello. We need the coach, the traveler again. Just wait a few minutes. She should be coming. The driver.
The stone is warm to the touch, and when you speak into it, you receive a message back. Hold on. I'll be there as quickly as I can. I didn't have breakfast yet, so I had to make a stop.
She's on her way. She hadn't had breakfast yet. So she's in the middle of eating, I guess. So it should be shortly.
Oh, I might be able to get them a cake or something at the bakery.
Oh, yeah, that'd be very nice.
As you see various people still, and as you exit the cathedral, waiting for the sky coach, you just see the various peoples milling about. Some that seem to be heading off towards a tower that is a bit hollow in the center, with large columns and then smaller temple buildings around it. That is several hundred yards away from you. And then, of course, there's the grand pavilion in front of the cathedral. It seems to share that area with that temple. And
I wonder what that place is.
Zara, of course, looking across, you would recognize the various symbols from iconography of the sovereign host. This appears to be the pavilion of the host that you know of, and that, of course, Euthana referred to.
Well, I bet all the Hara is here, and the brother and the sister, God, and all that. I think I'll stop by another time. And Zara kind of looks at them and says, "Oh, would you give us just a moment?" And Zara kind of takes a couple steps away and kind of signals Nicholas to come look.
And walk up.
And she kind of cups her hand to his ear and says, "So, what do you think of these people?"
I don't know yet. Ask me in a few days.
All right. Do you? Well, I know you never really tell me exactly what you're doing, but do you have everything you need to complete your business?
In time.
All right. And then they kind of walk back.
Okay. As you head back towards your friends, you see the familiar sight of the sky coach descending into the pavilion square. And you see the familiar red hair of the young woman named Isvel. And she looks at all of you and she says, "Well, welcome aboard. Happy to have return customers." Did you get everything you needed?
Yes.
That's splendid.
Would you bother taking us to the Bazaar?
Oh, of course, I can take you
To
to the Bazaar.
Linda's Delights, please.
Oh, the bakery. Oh, yes, I've been there. And do you all get onto the skycoach?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, all aboard. No hanging over the sides, please. And with that, the skycoach lifts up into the air and rockets out over the central plateau, arcing out, and after a while, passes over the wall. And as you're passing over the wall, you can see now that in the distance there are some storm clouds that have begun to gather.
I wonder if they tell everybody not to hang over the side or if it's just us because we love tourists.
I think only because Zara had a question about it.
Ah,
Oh, good. We have a good rain coming in. Go clean the streets up.
what if we hung somebody over the side? Would they get mad at us and stop?
You know, if you're interested, I have something that I could try out. And Zara kind of takes her pack off her back,
Yeah, go ahead and hang over the side.
and she opens up a little like square glass, like kind of clear glass container that has about 6 lizards in it, like 6 really tiny lizards in it. And she takes one of them out and kind of just sets it on the side of the boat to see what.
Okay. You set the lizards on a few of them. Do you put all of them on the edge of the boat, or just one?
Just one. I just picked up one.
Okay. The moment that you set it down on the boat, the wind grabs the tiny lizard and whips it off, and it goes flying off into the distance. Far, far, far below to the rocky crags, several hundred meters below you.
Way to kill an innocent creature for no reason. I applaud.
You know, I'd probably get in trouble with that at Dillahara, but it's fine. I usually kind of weasel my way out of situations.
She's probably just making a small sacrifice to the other god. Bellinor.
Almost on cue, the moment the lizard goes flying off, a light rain begins.
So I have to tell you a quick story. So when I was younger, my brother, who I'm actually going to visit him tomorrow, but we had a thing about spiders and lizards. We would always play tricks on people and try to sneak them like into their hoods and into their jackets and into their shoes. So I guess I just kind of kept up the tradition. Sikri, what are you doing?
Oh, nothing. I thought I saw someone I recognized over.
You probably shouldn't try to jump off the side of the cart.
No leaning over the sides, please. I know that it's a lovely view, but I would rather not have to come and collect you from wherever you deposit yourself once you fall off.
Are you feeling okay there, Stickry?
Perfectly fine.
Are you sure you're not hearing the the voice?
I'm hearing something, but it's not magical.
Maybe it was the silver flame. Well,
Who would like to make a perception check?
not me. I'm staring at the sky.
Zara's looking over the city, so she'll do it.
Unless it's in the sky, then I'm totally making it.
Failed. 11, not terrible, but
It's better than my 1 that I would probably.
Okay. Zara, as you're staring out off into the distance, through the rain and the wind whipping about, you see a dot. Strange floating green dot. And it seems to wobble this way and that way. And it seems to be getting closer to the skycoach. It's several yards off at the moment. And as you stare at the dot, you see another one. And another one. And then 2 more. And they all sort of begin flying in a V shape towards all of you. And as you stare out, they begin rocketing faster and faster towards the rear of the conveyance. And you can see several diminutive forms and one larger form as they all begin to pull out bows and pull their strings taut. I need everyone to roll initiative.
guys, duck.
You see ducks? Nice.
Duck your head.
Oh.
Well, they could be just, you know, flying neon ducks. It's tiny. Hey, we all jumped out of the skycoach.
Samael was staring at the sky.
I'm still looking for the ducks.
Like goblins with rocket packs on or something?
I hope they have rocket packs. Otherwise, I'm about to have a rocket pack. Damn, would you look at that? We all jumped off the side.
No.
Alright, Nicholas, it's your turn.
Nicholas,
my
get
turn.
back on that boat.
I think the boat. I think the boat is above our tokens. On a.
Another layer.
There we go. There we go. I'm going to draw my bow.
Okay, so you're jumping off of the ship?
No, I'm trying to get on the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, the screen I see it shows in the midair next to the ship.
Yeah.
And I'm under it. And Sam's under it.
Yeah, sorry, the token is, for some reason, it's acting weird.
Yeah, no problem.
And Siegfried.
Alright, I'm gonna draw my bow, and I'm going to see the closest one near. That'd be Goblin 1.
No, roll perception to see if you see it there.
It might be under you.
Oh yeah, you can totally see him. He is pulling his bow back. It looks like he's getting ready to plug one of you. And
Then
he seems to be riding on some sort of crystal disc with sort of a greenish arc lightning crackling off the underside of it.
It's a whole bunch of green goblins.
That's what I was gonna say.
You're getting
A
attacked
goblin.
by green goblins.
Peter Parker!
I let loose an arrow.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of lag.
I know.
As you pull back on your bow and you loose an arrow and it arcs out, and then it just sort of wobbles in the air a bit, and the wind blows your arrow harmlessly out of the way. The goblin looks like it's getting ready to pull his arrow and plug you now.
Sorry. And then I'm going to end my turn.
Goblin pulls out his short bow. Pulls back and then screeches out something into the wind. Can't quite hear it. Sounds something like... And Zara, you are hit. The arrow arcs through the air and just manages to peg you in the shoulder.
Pick it on the clerk.
And you take 5 damage as the arrow embeds itself in your flesh. It seems to have bypassed your armor. And it is your turn, Zara.
Alright, so I'm going to load my crossbow and aim it right back at the one who targeted. That's the goblin one, is that right?
Here, does that make it easier?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could actually move there, because that's where the ship technically was.
Correct. I'll tell you if you're falling off the ship. Although, if you move, I'm going... because you were struck with an arrow, I need you to make a dexterity save.
Alright.
Zara, you feel your legs a bit wobbly. Your legs are... You feel a little weak from the arrow sticking out of your shoulder, and you can feel the whole deck of the skycoach sort of shifting as you walk. And you catch yourself. Whoa. There we go.
And I my arrow.
Okay. You loose your crossbolt. Your crossbolt arcs across and catches the goblin right in the side of his neck. And you watch as it sticks out the other side, and he reaches up to grab the bolt and slides off of his disc and plummets far, far down to the ground below. And you watch as the disc that he was flying on sort of wildly zips this way and that way, and then goes flying off into the side of one of the towers and explodes.
Alright, that's the end of my turn.
Also, I can't hear you very well, Zara. You're very quiet on my end.
Is that better?
That's much better.
Alright, that's the end of my turn.
Okay. Byron, it is your turn.
Alright, I'll go ahead and target that one. Did you get my message about giving us access to the spells so that we can actually pick spells?
Oh,
I haven't been able to pick spells.
that's weird. It should give you access. We'll cover that after the combat. How about that? Oh boy, natural 20. Byron standing on the edge of the back of the bow of the ship. Your arrow hurls through the air in a spiraling pattern and hits the goblin center mass. An spray of arterial blood as the creature is blasted off of his disc and falls plummeting to the ground below.
As a bonus action, I'll fire another one.
You very deftly notch another arrow. And unfortunately, your arrow arcs through the air and harmlessly hits the crystal disc. And
He mutters to himself, God, it's
gone.
another crap.
Siegfried, it's your turn.
Siegfried's just gonna sit in the rain and just look at the sky, not.
Oh, very well. You all watch as the much larger goblinoid form, the creature arcs up a bit closer. See him flying closer, and as he rockets forward, he fires an arrow straight at you, Siegfried. I assume a 20 hits. So Siegfried, as you're sort of sitting in the boat, spacing out a little bit, you take 9 piercing damage from the arrow as it hits you center mass. The next goblin, he's going to notch an arrow and attempt to hit Esvel. But he misses her. And in response to that attack, Asvel turns around and very quickly drops a small hand crossbow from her, almost from her, what seems to be where her armpit is. You see her do a shift, and a hand crossbow falls into her palm, and she spins around and aims it at the goblin. And the goblin is caught right between his eyes as the bolt catches him and he is blasted off. And Samael, it's your turn.
I finally noticed that something's going on. Quit looking for ducks as soon as I see Siegfried get hit. And I'm going to step in there and kill.
Siegfried, you watch as your traveling paladin companion reaches out and his hands begin to glow in a warm light. And you can see beyond the tear in your armor, in your clothing, the wound that was once there, as you pulled out the arrow, begins to close and mend itself.
After that, I'm going to tap him on the shoulder and say, you seem to got a little bit of red on you there, mate. And I'm going to turn to see what's going on. In my turn.
Nicholas, at the top of the quarter, it is your turn.
I'm going to look around and see, do I see the other goblin?
You see both goblins, actually. They're getting much closer.
I'm going to pull out another arrow and take another crack shot at this.
Aiming at the much larger hobgoblin, your arrow actually arcs out past him and goes through a window of a tower close to where you're currently flying and breaks the window. And you hear a, ah!
Not my fault. Sorry. Didn't mean to. Charge the goblin. I'm gonna end my turn.
Okay. Zara, it's your turn.
Zara is going to fit another bow into her crossbow and aim at the bigger goblin. And see if she can make it. That's also a no.
Your arrow arcs across, and again, the wind just seems to push it harmlessly out of the way before it even makes it to its mark.
Dang it. And that's the end of my turn.
Byron, it's your turn.
I turn my focus over to the hobgoblin. I'll attack him. Pull out my bow and striking.
Your first arrow, unfortunately, is caught by the wind and blown harmlessly out of the way.
And I'll try a second shot with my bonus action.
And your second one, unfortunately, again, the wind whipping up, the rain is just knocking all of your arrows, it seems.
And I'll pass them.
Siegfried, it's your turn. After being healed by the warm light from your friend Samael, you're now sitting on the deck of the ship.
Siegfried looks at his wound and sighs, and then looks up and whispers a chant of hatred towards the hobgoblin, and casts Dissonant Whispers.
Okay. What's the range on Dissonant Whispers?
60 feet.
Okay, you should be well within range.
Exact range.
And that is a failure on the hobgoblin.
Nice.
Siegfried huffs and lays back.
You'll watch as the hobgoblin begins shrieking and grabs his head and pitches forth and falls down, 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 far below, and splats 1,000 meters below you, out of sight. The goblin now is attempting to run away. It looks like he's going to go to that window that was unfortunately shot in by Nicholas. Esvel turns as he looks and she says, "Is any of you going to kill that thing?" And Samael, it's your turn. Also, you still
can't have that getting away, can we?
You still have Siegfried targeted, by the way. That is unfortunately a miss.
Oh well, I have my turn.
That's weird. I wonder why you have disadvantage. Are you
Not
Armor.
Oh, it's because of the armor.
Armor gives
Armor
you
not
disadvantage on
perfect.
attacks. Why am I not proficient with my armor?
That's interesting. We'll have to look at your character sheet after the battle and find out. Tell you what, roll again.
Well,
Click advantage and roll again.
Okay.
That's even worse.
Yeah. Oh well, I have my turn.
Nicholas, it's your turn. You see this goblin rocketing towards this broken window.
And I kind of hesitantly pull back my arrow. I'm gonna fire once more.
Go for it. Well, you didn't target him, but you did hit him. So you're welcome to drop damage on him. Your arrow flies true and manages to arc forward and hit the goblin in the side of his head. And you watch as he pitches forward and flies through the open, broken window now. And you hear another scream. Ah! What is going on out there? And you watch the disc sort of lazily swing this way and that way, sashaying out of sight. And you are all out of combat.
He had that window targeted, so just happened the goblin was there.
I gotta get me one of those flying discs.
Oh. Go into that window and get it.
Not a bad idea.
Would I be able to have my my little dingy mabobber, my line, and grab the flying disc, or would that be too heavy for it? Or is it impossible?
No, it's way too heavy, unfortunately.
Can I be proficient in all armor like my character sheet says I am?
Let's take a look. I don't know why it doesn't let you be proficient. All armor. Let's take that disadvantage off of you. You are proficient. Boom. Now you're proficient.
All right, I know how to use armor now.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck that was.
Using it wrong all this time.
And as you're all gathering yourselves, Esval looks to each of you and says, "Are you all right?"
Oh, yes.
I'm fine. I
all
don't know about
fine.
everybody else.
The lizard did not make it.
Yeah, he didn't, unfortunately, but so
And you each receive 60 experience points for that encounter.
Woohoo!
That much closer
Does this
to
happen
level 3. Ezra looks at you, Nicholas, and says, "What was that? I didn't hear you through the rain and the wind."
Does this happen often? Getting attacked by goblins on our way to our destination?
The closer you get to Lower Dura, the more frequent, I'm afraid. I do apologize. With the wind and the rain, I'm afraid they took advantage of the lower visibility.
Understandable. Like I said, I'm glad we made quick work of them.
Zara,
Let
go
me get us back down to solid ground and out of this wind and rain, okay?
Is Siegfried okay? He took an arrow.
I'm fine. It seems everyone says everything for me, so I can just nap here and basically have full conversations. Wake me up when we get there. I'm a bit tired.
Zara very gingerly pulls the crossbow arrow out of her shoulder, and she puts her hand over and casts Cure.
And you feel the warm sensation of light emanating from your hands as you trace the sigils and say the incantation, and you are mended.
It would appear the goblins scared the ducks away as well.
Yeah, but I bet you those children are still there.
And now Zara's dead. Oh, and now she's alive again.
I've been sitting here contemplating whether killing the lizard for fun was an evil action or not.
To be fair, the lizard was not dropped off. He got whipped off by the wind.
That's my conundrum. That's why I'm still sitting here.
Yeah, I mean, she did put it there to see what happened if you hung something over the side. That is technically torturing the poor creature.
Yeah, but it doesn't really seem like the greater of evil, does it?
No. Sadly
Oh, well.
not.
Are you guys saying this out loud?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, if you call us out on it, we're going to look at you like we're confused that you heard us.
Did I hear them?
Make a perception check. It is windy and raining. The boat is small enough, though, that it's not going to be a very high DC. Hey, you totally heard them.
She just kind of gives a smile, but she doesn't say anything.
Look at that. The evil temptress is happy about killing the poor lizard, even after she heard us talking about it.
Didn't we just agree that she's not evil, just moderately of lower standard?
You're right. I apologize.
Now, if the lizard was talking, I'd be more worried about it, but it wasn't, and I guess it would be the same as arguing if he stepped on a beetle, if that makes it.
Well, you know, I've actually wondered whether or not animals can be evil or not. I mean, maybe that lizard had done some evil things in this town. Maybe he deserved to be flipped off the side of a sky cart.
Well, it depends where she picked it up from. I mean, if it was in some kind of foul lizard that was cursed or something, then yes, it is quite possible that it was evil, but this is a lot of ifs and ands.
Yeah, we're just spinning our wheels doing nothing now. Oh well.
After a minute or two, you head over the cliffs within and into the towers and find yourselves on an elevated bridge, a very wide bridge. And the skycoach settles down. The rain is still fairly heavy, and the wind is still blowing through. You see a large commercial district, and amongst about a dozen towers, you see that around the edges you see many shops and businesses. And a few hundred yards away, Byron, you see a very familiar business. A small shop on the edge of the bazaar. And this would be Lydia's place.
Well, let's go. Let's dally around at people to see. I start walking briskly towards the big smile on my face.
What about
Sarah
the rest of
turns
you?
towards Nicholas. She's like, "Oh, it's so cute," and she kind of takes his hand, Nicholas' hand, and starts walking towards.
Yes, very cute indeed.
So, what flavor of cake do you want? By the way, anyone want cake? I will be paying because it's our anniversary and you guys are here and it's a party.
Siegfried, wake up. This girl's giving us free stuff. Let's go.
I'm sorry, are we still waiting to get off the boat when we're landed?
No. We're done. We're getting off now. She's going to buy us a cake. Let's go.
Moving off the boat yet?
Yeah, I'm sure. Come on.
I swear, if I stand up and we're not off the boat, I'm gonna be upset.
You see Samael walking off the boat with Siegfried sitting on his shoulder. confused and acting like he's still sitting in a chair.
Well, Esvel yells out to you, "If you don't need me, I'm gonna take a few laps around and just make sure that there are none more of those gangs in the area. And
Yeah, round up some more of your goblin friends. We'll be waiting.
if you see any of the watch, you might want to say something to them about it, so that perhaps you won't be mistaken for attacking a citizen. Because no doubt whoever lives within that window that you shot that arrow into, Nicholas, they might have some harsh words for you if they saw you."
That is true. It was an accident, though.
Be that as it may, I would be very careful if I were you. The watch can be a bit rough to those who wantonly display weapons in the city. But they are understandable if you're defending yourself, so I have no doubt that you'll be able to talk your way out of any questions. And with that, Isabel lifts her control yoke up, and the skycoach rises up in the air, and you watch as it rockets overhead of you, momentarily blocking the rain and heading off into the sky, and then around the corner, one of the towers.
I'll tell you, these skycard drivers are all the same. They always got an opinion on everything. Let's go get something to eat.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling cake, too.
I've got the tack. I call for flavors.
Siegfried, what's your favorite flavor?
Sugar bows.
The flavor of a bit of silence for a few moments. I have a splitting head.
Very well.
May have something to do with the arrow to the chest.
No, I healed that. I'm fairly certain you're okay there.
I'm pretty sure it's mental.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get in there in a moment.
Zara looks at Siegfried somewhat concerned. Does she notice anything about him?
Well, why don't you make a perception check? You have no idea.
I smell cake. Who wants cake?
Siegfried looks at Zara with a bit of familiarity and
then she just totally blows it off. Cake? Who wants cake?
I want cake. Let's go.
All right, and so she starts rushing in.
Is this that kind of bakery, though? I mean, he hasn't really told us what they make here. They might just make biscuits or something.
What do we see in front of us?
You see what looks like a converted cottage. The front edifice, you see there are some flower boxes lined up in front, and you see an overhang that seems to block the rain from the stoop heading into the shop. And you see a few windows in the front, and hanging above near one of the windows, you see a wooden armature, and from the armature you see a few chains that are holding a rather large wooden sign. The sign is a bit audacious. It actually resembles that of a cake, and there is what looks like the top half of a young woman with a smile on her face holding the cake up, and then below that you see in bright yellow font a yellow painted image in a script the name Lydia's. And then you see that below Lydia's there used to be what looks like it used to be another part of the sign, but seems to have been broken off.
With that, Siegfried will jump off of Samael's shoulder and walk in front of the shop, look around before pulling out his instrument, his viol, and starts to sweetly play it in front of the shop.
Hey, Byron, it looks like somebody broke off the bakery part of your sign.
And as you're sitting, you see some movement from within the shop. The shop itself seems to be lit with ever-bright lanterns in various strategic places. And there's a few ever-bright lanterns as well that seem to have come on with the overcast and clouds and the rain. And as you're approaching the shop, this middle-aged woman comes barreling out the front door, and in one of her hands she has a rolling pin, and the other hand she is swinging a broom, and you watch as several rats go scampering off into the distance as she yells, "You little blighters! Come in my shop, will you?" Oh. And she's just sort of sits there for a moment and breathes heavy, wiping the sweat off her brow.
I'm back.
Oh, it's you.
Of course it is. I came back. It's been 2.5 weeks.
Yes, it has.
Oh.
Those crates
Long
aren't going to
over.
stack themselves, you know.
Well, I got the package that you needed, and I have a few coins that I picked up.
Well, good. That is good. I assume if you're here with whoever these folk are, you're here because you want something.
They wanted to buy you some cakes for their anniversary. If you still have time to make them.
And she sort of changes her demeanor when you say that immediately, and adjusts her dress and her apron, and she says, "Oh, where are my manners? I am so sorry." And she turns and she looks at you, Zara, in the face, and she says, "Oh, is this the happy couple?" And she looks at you, Zara, and then she looks at Siegfried. "Oh, he's a very handsome one indeed."
And Zara puts a hand on Nicholas' shoulder. It's like, "Oh no, this is my husband Nicholas, and I'm Zara. Nice to meet. It's our 8-month anniversary, and well, we are here to celebrate, and Byron is part of it as well. And well, if I may be perhaps too full, but I heard that Byron, you might have someone else who might want to join our little party."
Well, I think I'd try to run inside already to see if Linda's.
I think he's a little distracted.
All right. So, what flavor do you recommend? We want to get something that we can share between us, and well, I mean, I don't know if you're hungry. I guess we already had lots of bacon, but yeah, cake.
And Lydia looks at you and she says, she looks a bit forlorn and she says, "Well, I'm afraid I don't have anything fresh at the moment. Since Byron here hasn't been back in over 2 weeks, I haven't been able to receive the supplies that I've needed. And, of course, I have a serious rat problem at the moment."
I see. Well, we'd be happy to wait if need.
Linda, yo.
What was that? Speak up, boy.
I'm inside yelling for Linda.
If you're looking for the girl, she is at the university.
Ah.
She's been there for the last few weeks, ever since you left. You know she doesn't stay here when you're gone.
Well,
If you're here, if you're staying for a while, maybe you could do something about these blasted rats. And also, Maybe, just maybe, you can stop by Gelf's place and pick up some meat. I can't make any meat pies without meat, any fresh meat.
Of course, of course. I'll get right on it. Yeah. Sure.
Justin hasn't responded to my requests. He has been ignoring me. So I have to deal with Gelf, which I can't stand Gelf, but I have to deal with Gelf because of his pull in the area.
And what's going on? Who is this Gelf? And other guy?
Justin is the representative from the Guild of Butchers. Is where I normally get my fresh meat and other supplies through the reps, of course.
Makes sense.
Justin, for some reason, has been ignoring me, and I haven't received any fresh meat in a few weeks. Actually, since you left, Byron, isn't that strange?
Well, did you have anyone go get it, or
Who am I going to send, Byron? I'm all by myself.
Yes, I know. I'll make sure I get you some meat. Yeah.
Well, go
All right,
talk,
I'll get going in a
go
minute.
talk to Gelf or go talk to Justin. I don't care which one of them you talk to. If you go to Justin, maybe he'll give you fresh meat. If you go to Gelf, he's more than likely to give you just the scraps from the kitchen. But that's okay. I can use scraps to make the meat pies. But before you go anywhere, I need you to fix this damn rat problem.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Can you get in touch with Linda, or she got a little coin or anything that she can communicate with you, or I don't know, I'm home, or
Well, I suppose you could head over to the university and look for her. You know that she doesn't carry a sending stone with her. I swear that girl's head is in the clouds as of late. All she does is talk about traveling around Corvair. Ever since she met you, she's had her head in the clouds.
Well, I'll go to the meat shop and I'll pass by the university, pick up some stuff on the way home for the rats, and then I can't give you all the money that I was going to give you because I got to buy some rat stuff. And but here's your package, and here's some coin. I'll give her 50 gold.
And she snatches it out of your hands and gives you a sour look. And fix my damn sign.
Sure, and I'll stop by the sign shop and okay.
Just go talk to a representative from the Carpenters Guild. You can send out a request. I'll send a request out, and then you can deal with them. They'll be here most likely by the beginning of next week.
Sure. Hey, Samael, you wanted a drink, right? There's a tavern right around the corner down here, and it's a good place to go. Let's go.
I turn to her and say, I think you're being a little harsh. Byron is a good man. He's a good young man. He does his best. And I think that you would be more happier to see him complete his task.
Oh, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's perfect.
Byron, I see you have some very rude friends.
Yeah.
And they seem to be wanting to talk for you. Is this what you truly feel?
Well,
do you feel like that your station in this place? You feel like you're being mistreated?
Oh, no. No, not at all.
It would be a shame, wouldn't it, if I had a few conversations with some of your friends around here, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Hey, let's go for that drink, guys.
It would be a
wine shop's
shame
near there, right?
indeed. And and she begins to laugh, and she takes her broom and just sort of whisks the stone step a few times and goes back into the shop. And then she steps out a few moments later, and she walks up to Zara, and she presses a couple of cakes into her hand with what looks like some sort of pink frosting. Here you go, love. This is my personal stash.
Thanks, Linda. You're great.
Shut it. Go take care of the rats. Go get the meats. I don't care who you talk to. Just get it done. Get the sign done. Work, work, work.
Yes, ma'am.
And with that, she heads back into the shop.
Hey, anyone for a drink? I could use one.
Yeah, I see that you could use one pretty badly.
Don't forget, we still need to go to Siegfried's place as well.
Do I know where his place is around here?
I actually, it's at the end of this block.
Well, let's just walk over there.
Yeah.
And of course, directly across from Linda's Bakery, you see a very ostentatious building with ever-bright lanterns at all the corners and posts. And you see above the entrance into the place, you see a strange glowing arcane sigils that sort of shift in and out. And you see the name Gelf. And then it begins spelling the rest of the sign. As you stare at it, it says Gelf's House of Cheddar.
Wow.
And of course, Byron, you would know this place to be the local tavern. Really the only tavern within the Bazaar, since most of the taverns that were here in the marketplace have since moved on to the other districts because they really just couldn't compete with Gelf's place.
Well, I'm up for a drink, and before she leaves, Zara actually takes let's say 2-3 silver coins out, puts it on the counter, and then she.
Oh, you're leaving coins on the counter for Lydia?
Yeah, because she just gave me the cakes, and I kind of want to pay her.
Okay. You watch as she very swiftly grabs the coins and shucks them into her front pocket on her apron, and then she gives you a wink.
And Zara walks out. So, to the tavern?
Siegfried stops playing his viol and puts it away and takes out his atlas and starts walking towards Dimble's, following when the atlas heats.
Okay.
It's at the end of the street.
Yeah, it's at the end of the street.
There's a meat shop down here too, so I gotta get some meat.
I think we should talk to Justin or the other guy. I would like some words with him. I could help you out, Byron. I have some pull in the city.
I was about to say, Byron, man, you have a tough mother. I fear for you, I really do.
Well, she's my future mother-in-law. I have to keep the good image going. I owe her and her family a great deal of respect. So I do what I can for her.
You know, Nicholas's parents are actually rather not bad for in-laws. Mine, on the other hand, and then suddenly Zara, kind of like a wave of I don't know, what's the word for it? Uncertainty kind of pass over her face, and she's like, "Oh, I mean."
Yeah, I never met her parents, but they're pretty awful, so I'll take her word for it.
They're dead, so.
I think that might be good for a change, not meeting the. I've already met mine.
But we're all here for each other, so Byron will help you get what she needs to keep your image up, and so you can tie that knot quicker. So you don't have to stop following your mother around a lot.
Yeah. Family tie. You know, I can respect that. Yeah.
She could be a little nicer to you as you've worked hard.
All right, all right. So are we going to get meat? Are we going to Dimbles? Are we going to Cheddar's? We could split up.
I think Siegfried just going inside Dimble's and meat shop's just around the corner here. I'll just go grab some meat real quick.
Okay, so we are splitting the party.
Well, I'm up for dividing tasks. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with Siegfried.
You might have to load the module, Mark.
Oh, okay.
That might be why it's not letting you pull spells. I just looked in it. It looks like, yeah, you're gonna have to load them.
I'm gonna slowly walk behind the party a little bit.
Okay, Nicholas, so you're hovering behind the group, and it looks like Siegfried wants to go over to Dimble's. And what are the rest of you doing?
I'm heading to Dimble's as well.
Okay, so Nicholas, you're heading with Siegfried to Dimble's.
Yes.
And what about the rest of the party?
I'll also be at Dimble's.
Okay, so Siegfried, Samael, and Nicholas are heading to Dimble's, and Byron and Zara, you're standing in the middle of the street.
We're headed to the meat shop.
Okay.
Or I am.
What about you, Zara? Zara, did your microphone stop working? Hello?
Testing.
Yeah, you're not coming through there for some reason. It's like someone ran up and yanked your XLR cord out.
Test. Test.
Yep,
Test.
you're right.
Test. I
Alright.
can kind of hear you. Yep, there you are.
All right. You good now?
I can hear you. Hello?
Okay.
Lag is horrible.
I'm going to Dimble's as well.
I can try
Byron.
let me try to change the server settings.
Okay. I'm gonna turn to Byron. Byron, just come with us to Dimble's and we'll head to the meat place with you. I can say a few words because I was an inquisitor. I have some pull in the city.
But
Just
I
come with. Please, trust me.
was it Linda? All right.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Well, it's on the way. I promise. It'll be very quick.
All right.
How's that sound? Is that better?
Testing. Testing.
I can hear you. Hello.
Can you hear me
Yeah, I
clearly?
can hear.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to Dimble's as well.
All right. Looks like everyone is going to Dimble's. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to Dimble's.
Yes.
Okay. As you all walk down the bridge over the edge of the connected towers, on the end of the block you see what looks to be a workshop, and there's no sign on the outside of the workshop. But Siegfried, you see a familiar face. You see a gnomish woman standing next to what looks like some sort of city official, wielding a longsword. And she seems to be having a conversation with the man. As you get closer, you can start to hear a little bit of what she's saying. Well, I haven't seen him in over a week. I don't know where he is. And you haven't been helpful at all. You won't go into the shop, you say, for reasons. You say you're waiting for an inquisitive to come by. Someone needs to go in the shop. I can't go in the shop because, well, to be perfectly honest, I'm afraid the Kelthrax may be home and I don't want to deal with him right now.
Siegfried walks up and looks. Fliz, is everything alright?
Fliz turns around and looks at you and says, "Oh my, it's you, the bard from the station, from First Tower. I'm afraid you've come at a bad time, dear. My uncle, he's missing. And this fool doesn't seem to want to help me." And the City Watch guard, the City Watch man is standing there, and he seems to be like writing something down on a tablet and just sort of sternly looking at both of you.
Yes, excuse me, sir. And I look at the tower going,
Yes.
two things. Well, one, we were coming here on a skycoach, and we got attacked by goblins. So there's goblins flying around.
Goblins?
You know, kind of...
Goblins,
Yeah, we were
you say?
defending... Yes, goblins. We were defending ourselves, and an arrow might have let loose into a window and broke it. It was in self-defense, I promise.
What's your name?
Oh, I am Nicholas Highhill.
Well, Nicholas Highhill, I'm sure that someone... Where did this happen? I don't have time for this, okay? You can report this to someone else. I have to deal with this woman right now. Deal with me? You're going to deal with me, he said. I never. If your uncle went missing, wouldn't you want someone to help you? In most haste?
Okay,
Why must I have to wait for some special investigator to come by to go into the shop?
and that was my...
Kelthrax is probably wrecking the shop right now.
Siegfried walks into the shop.
I pull out my ID. I'm an inquisitor, or, you know, a retired one, but
you're going into the shop by yourself?
I'm going into the shop, and I'm pretty sure Samael is going to follow.
As you start to walk into the shop, the guard walks in front of you and says, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. This is official city business. You have to wait for the inquisitive.
That guy right over there, you're
cannot
being rude to, is an inquisitor.
I cannot be responsible for whatever happens to you if you decide to go into this shop. We don't know what's going on in there." She said something called a Kelthrax is causing havoc inside.
Well, let me put two things. One, this giant man behind me is a paladin of the Silver Frame. That one guy that you just brushed off is an inquisitor. And this young lady is a rather close friend of me, and it seems you are pretty intent on not doing anything. So, if you're not going to do anything and come with us, if you step aside, we'll go in and we'll take care of it, without making anything bad happen to anyone else. I can understand if you fear for yourself, and I'm much more than happy to hear that you at least fear for me. So stand aside, we'll take care of this.
Make a persuasion check. And he just sort of straightens his uniform, stands back a little bit to the side and says, "Well, if you're intent to get yourselves killed, be my guest." And he unlocks the door and opens it.
Those trolls thought they were going to kill us too. But we all know how that went. And Siegfried...
I'm going to flash my badge real fast as I walk in, like, hide that it's inactive, but, you know, it's still kind of there.
Okay.
Yeah, as I pass by him, I'm just going to look at him and go, "Weak," and go in the door.
Sorry, I was going to walk by and smile and wave at him and say hi.
The man just kind of
I'll
shakes
trail
his head.
in there behind everybody, just shrug my shoulders.
Kind of shakes his
no.
head. As you enter into the shop, you see a couple of workbenches, tables. You see a little forge off just ahead of you, and you see a door just beyond, about 15 feet into the shop as you enter, and you see a door, like smack in the middle of the wall, and the door seems to be ajar a little bit.
That 9. Siegfried walks up to the door that's ajar and opens more than it already is.
Okay. As you look into the interior of the chamber, you see a barrel, you see another work table, another workbench, and then you see just around a small banister with some stairs heading upstairs. You also notice it's extremely filthy in this room. Like, as you walk in, you are kicking up dust motes everywhere. Dust bunnies for days.
I whisper to Samael, "Hey, you wanna make some noise and get anything that's in here?"
Sure, I can do that. I'm
Oh,
gonna
I
pull out
can
my
do it. Just get yourself ready.
Okay. Okay. I'm ready.
Siegfried draws his rapier and looks to the rest and nods. And once everyone has their weapons at ready, he will cast minor illusion about the center of the room and just make it a voice saying, "Hello, is anyone here?" And
Make a... Let's see. You hear...
Well, it's a minor.
you hear
It's my cantrip.
You hear something. Something coming from upstairs. But you're not quite sure what. It sounds like a rustling noise.
I'm gonna start stealthing.
Okay. You can make a stealth check for me. Nice. I should also mention that the room itself is not lit currently. There is some light from windows here and there, so the room itself has a bit of dim light, both in the interior facade and within this chamber where this stairwell leading up is.
I start heading to go up, and I have dark vision, so I should be able to see it.
Okay. As you head up the stairs, you hear another rustling noise.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bother him.
Ha!
And Zara, you manage to kick a pail and make a loud noise in the room.
Five Nights at Sharn.
Ooh, the map. It's called the Mad Tinker. I liked it already.
And let me throw you guys on the map. I assume you're all following behind?
Yep.
Nicholas, you're behind him?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh. I put you in the wrong place, Byron. I'm sorry. Who's leading up the rear?
I guess I will.
Alright, Samael is leading up the rear. Zara, are you behind Nicholas?
Yeah, sorry about Nicholas, but she's keeping very careful watch of this.
Byron, you need me to check for trap. Byron.
It's an animal.
So as you head into the room, Siegfried, You notice that much of the furniture within this room is destroyed. And as Zara kicked that pail, you heard this sort of a rustling noise and sort of a thumping noise coming from overhead above you and just around the corner. Looks like Fantasy Grounds is acting funny right now. I apologize. And
What was it?
are the rest of you did the rest of you stealth as well, or just Byron, Nicholas, Zara? It looks like Samael, you didn't bother to stealth.
No, I don't really stealth.
He's a loud clanging noise.
Loud clanging noise. Okay.
I mean, it's attention, maybe. Maybe.
That was the.
So, Siegfried, as you begin to round the corner, you hear a strange noise. Sort of like a noise. And you hear a loud clang coming from above you. And then immediately, and I'll share the map for you again so you can see it.
Thank you.
You hear a sound that's sort of like a poof, 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 and you just start seeing this sort of strands, these weird strands that are just sort of flying out in clouds over. And let's see, first of all, if it even hits you. And you watch as the bits of web sort of arc out and plaster the sides of the wall next to you. And you all hear this horrible screeching noise, like a mechanical warbling. Siegfried, you see an enormous mechanical spider drop from the ceiling. Let's roll initiative.
I'm going to immediately cast Thaumaturgy, and I'm going to alter the appearance of my eyes to look like Do you guys hear me okay?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I don't know how that's gonna scare a mechanical spider.
I don't know either. But
Oh my
she
god!
thinks it would be cool.
Samael, what?
Can you roll anything but a 1?
That's his 4th time in a row getting a 1 for his initiative. I call he re-roll.
Samael doesn't care because it's not true evil. It's just a spider.
Hey, didn't this happen last time too?
This is the 3rd time he's done it.
I mean, like last game, because you like rolled
Yes,
super
2 times
low.
this game and 1 time the last game.
Yeah, I roll ones for initiative all the time.
Hey, I think it's fair to re-roll.
You can spend a hero point.
You can spend a hero point.
Oh, he can.
Yeah,
I
here.
forgot
I'm
about the
good.
hero points.
I don't want to spend a hero point just so I can roll another 1.
That's true. You could roll
I
another
mean,
1. It's
the
a
odds
it's
are-
a 1 in 6 chance that you could go before Zara.
The odds are in your favor.
No, I'm good.
Alright, Siegfried, on your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna move up there. And then I am going to use the spell of Thunder Wave.
Okay. And he succeeds.
So it should be half damage, I believe.
should automatically damage him for half.
Yes, I was just making sure it still did damage.
There we go. And don't think it blasts him backwards.
No, it does not.
So you're all of a sudden, as you step into the side, ducking underneath these monofilament webs that it was spraying in your direction. The creature's metallic legs thumping on the wooden floor, and you unleash a torrent, this force that arcs out, and blasts loose articles everywhere. It smacks against the creature, and it breaches in response.
I shot to the rest. Guys, I think this may have been one of Diddle's contraptions or something, or the uncle's contraption that went.
As you say that, you turn to look back at the creature. Oh shit. And it critically hits you. One of its fangs detaches from its face and arcs out on a monofilament line and sinks into your leg. And I need you to make a Constitution save. Take 2 poison damage in addition. And the creature is going to leap up onto the ceiling now.
Wait, isn't it an attack of opportunity? Is this move?
Well, it's not moving away from your threat range. It's still within 5 feet of you. It just leapt up into the air. This is a gnome workshop. The ceilings are kind of low.
So are we ducking?
Let's just say that you could reach up and very easily touch the ceiling with your hands, your fingertips.
Oh, so we can still hit it.
Oh yeah, totally. Byron, it's your turn. Byron?
Yeah, I'll turn my light back on. I can't see anything at the moment.
No, you watched Zara kick a can that was on the stairwell, and then you heard the sounds of what sounds like metallic thumping. And
Siegfried yelled that there's something up here attacking, like gone rogue.
Well, I'm gonna go up the stairs past Zara and Nikolai. Yeah, I'll go to there.
And you see a large mechanical construct in the shape of a giant arachnid. And you see that there's a, as you stare and look at Siegfried, you see a fang, a metallic fang sticking out of his leg with a bit of monofilament wire trailing off of it.
I'll cast Hunter's Mark. And then I'll attack the creature.
Siegfried, watch as Byron runs around the corner, pulls his bow, and just manages to stumble a little bit over some of the effluvia that is cast about on the ground. And your arrow goes wide and thunks into the far wall.
Am I within melee range or not?
You are currently not within melee range.
Alright, I'll take a 5-foot step back so someone else can come in.
Is that in your turn?
Yes.
Nicholas, it is your turn.
I'm going to stealthily come around to here. Right there.
Let's see if your friend here sees. Oh no, he can't see.
Then I'm gonna draw my short sword and can I hit him from there, or do I need to do I need to jump up on this counter?
A little stutter step to hop over a little bit, and you can totally hit him.
Right here.
And that's a good hit. Creature. The metallic sound of your sword scraping across its metal hide, sparking from the edge of your blade, striking its metal legs.
And then I think the second level that a rogue can disengage as a bonus action.
It would be on your sheet.
Yeah, disengage. Yep, so I'm going to disengage, and I'm going to take it.
Okay.
Finish my movement back there. It's a giant spider, but it's mechanical. Now in my turn.
Damn mechanical thing.
Damn mechanical spiders. Somebody call Will Smith. Zara, it's your turn.
Yeah, it's got a rogue.
Alright, so obviously I'm hearing all this. I'm gonna go upstairs.
Rushing upstairs, Zara, you see both Nicholas and Byron have back against the wall.
And I got my bow pointed.
Move to here and kind of just peek over the corner.
As you look around the corner, you see a giant mechanical spider, and it looks like it's menacing Siegfried. It looks like it's staring bloody murder bow back your way through you towards Byron and Nicholas.
And I can imagine I see Siegfried hurt.
Yes, looking at Siegfried, you can see this large metal fang sticking out of his thigh.
Alright, I'm gonna run right up to him. And I'm going to say, ow, that looks painful. And while he's kind of distracted, just pull it out and then cast Cure Wounds.
Well, that's one way to get something out of you.
And you feel a bit of warmth cast over you, Siegfried, from the bit of cold that your leg had started to feel a bit cold from where it had been struck by this fang, this metallic fang, and that coldness dissipates as the wound begins to knit itself together.
And I'm gonna move back again also by... Now, I wouldn't... Because I didn't attack, and I walked by, I wouldn't have an attack of opportunity, correct? Or do I? It's like against big spike.
I would say for all intents and purposes, he's going to go ahead and take an attack of opportunity against you.
Could I disengage?
You used your action, unfortunately, to heal Siegfried.
Got it.
So he's going to try to take a nibble on you. He reaches down and attempts to bite you. And he hits you. And he just manages to bite you right on your shoulder above your clavicle. Make a Constitution save.
Good boy. Not my strength.
And you feel this sort of like pulse, like a oof, pulse in your shoulder. And you're going to take an additional Ooh. That's a 5 more damage. As you feel the poison coursing through your veins, momentarily rushing through your veins.
Zara!
I'm fine. She does not look fine. And that's the end of my turn.
And Samael, it's your turn.
Okay, bear me 1 second then. Okay, I'm gonna move over there in front of the spotter.
Samael comes rushing up the stairs, past the 3 of you, charging over to his friend Siegfried with his weapon drawn.
Alright, Barrow makes an transcendent. As a bonus action, I will cast a spell Thunderous Smite.
Nice. You might have to target him first.
No, it's a self spell.
Oh, because I saw it's got a DC 13 on it.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. That's stupid. But yeah, it's a self target spell. Well, whatever. We'll just chat normal and see what.
Yeah, it has to make, if the target is a creature, it must succeed on a strength saving throw, DC 13, or be pushed 10 feet away from you. So it's like a thunder wave, in addition to giving you the 2d6 thunder damage.
Yeah, it's like blast from a weapon.
No, what I think is saying is when you do it, it has the bonus effect that it can knock them away as an addition.
Yeah, it's like Thor's hammer. You're turning your weapon into Thor's hammer.
Okay, 1 second.
And that is a miss.
I'm uninstalling Fantasy. Swear to God, I'm gonna uninstall it, reinstall it.
You could use a hero point.
You can use a hero point. See if you can.
No, I'm not gonna bother.
Are you sure?
Because if I use a hero point, I want to roll a 3 next time?
It adds it to
No.
it.
But it resets after we hit level 3. So I'm just
Yeah, I'm pretty
saying
sure-
we have 5.
Again,
I'm
you can,
good.
you can take a chance. I will tell you this: a hero point, even if you rolled a 6, you wouldn't be able to hit him. So save your hero point.
Yeah. No, it's just a waste.
Oh,
Well,
I forgot a
I'm
hero
not
point's a
turning.
D6, not another roll. I thought it was another roll.
Yeah, it's like
just
it's
D6.
kind of like a bardic inspiration.
Oh, okay. My bad.
All right. On Calthrax's, no, I'm sorry. It's your turn, Siegfried. I'm just.
Yeah, we're not used to Siegfried rolling a good initiative.
I know.
I know, and nat 20.
Yeah,
Almost one day.
I'm gonna try to use Dissonant Whispers on this thing.
And it fails.
Whispering curses at this.
And the curses are so terrible that Siegfried's voice turns into that of a snake in a noise. And as your dissonant whispers strike the creature, you notice that a panel pops open near its head, and you can see some metallic box hanging near its head now. And the creature is attempting to get away from you.
Attack of opportunity, right?
Yes, sir.
Stab at it with my rake.
That is a miss.
Samael gets one too.
Yep, Samael, you can take your attack of opportunity. He's getting away from you.
Hello, Samael.
What's that?
You get an
Getting,
attack of opportunity.
He's moving away from you too.
I apologize. Sorry, my kids were asking me something.
No worries.
Okay.
You know, you could hit him if you rolled a 6 on a hero point.
Nah, I'm gonna save it for a saving throw or something.
Okay. Galthrax, walking across the ceiling, runs into the back corner. And it begins to make a sort of a weird mewling noise. So like a warbling, like... And it seems to be sort of pulling its legs in. Like a spider does when it's trying to make itself smaller. Pulling its legs closer into its body. And you can see that box hanging and sparking from the side of its head. And Byron, it's your turn.
I'm going to move over to the other corner.
Byron, you can see the same sight. You see the massive spider hanging from the ceiling. It's sort of closed itself in to make a smaller footprint, and you can just see this strange box about the size of your fist hanging, and it's sparking.
Is it part of the spider, or is it something separate?
Looks like it's out of its head.
Can I target that?
If you like. It's totally part of the
Alright.
creature.
Alright, I'll attempt to strike it.
That is a miss unless you'd like to spend a hero point.
I'll spin a hero.
Okay, go ahead and roll d6. Alright. Your arrow arcs across and strikes the creature.
So,
Hits the box center mass. Pops off the side of its head. The creature reels back. Go ahead and roll damage. And Byron, you watch as your arrow seemed to be a bit of a chain reaction as it severs the line that was connecting that box to whatever was in the side of this creature's head. And you just watch as it lets out a last shrieking gasp. Its legs splay out and it falls with a thump onto the ground. And you are out of combat.
I'm going to make a perception to see if maybe anyone is webbed up to the wall or anything. Do I see anyone webbed to a wall or anything?
Looking around the room, you see that the window against the wall next to where Byron is standing is completely broken out. But it looks, there's glass inside all over the floor below the window. And then, of course, chunks of the frame from the window are also scattered here and there. And then, of course, you see the box laying on the ground next to where Byron's arrow struck it, and it bounced off of the wall, and it lays a couple of feet away from the dead creature.
I'll go grab the box, and then I'll look to everyone. Let's go back downstairs and let them know that it's safe inside.
She said something about a missing uncle. Was that here?
I'm going to walk over to the creature and stick my sword where the box fell out of into the hole or whatnot and scramble all the pieces and parts inside.
You know what you're destroying is probably the Tinkerer's work that went rogue. Who I just happen to most likely be friends with the Tinkerer of the thing you're just completely destroying.
As you begin to you begin to rustle the end of your sword, your short sword, into the creature's head, and you can see all of the bits of cogs and metallic casings and wires are all now just completely shredded, and bits are just flying everywhere. There's a few sparks as well that spark off your blade. And from downstairs, you hear a voice calling up, a familiar voice. Hello? Is everyone alive up there?
Yes, they just completely destroyed, and after we incapacitated one of your uncle or brothers or something's invention, that spider that you were.
Oh, thank God you killed oh no, not Kelthrax.
I take it you never liked it anyways.
I didn't say that. Did you find anything?
Understood. No, the window's broken. The glass is on the inside, which may mean it probably was breaking inside, but I don't know. I'm not an investigator.
Oh, the Inquisitor's here. He said to bring down whatever you found.
We're gonna throw the body of the spider outside the window. Be prepared.
Oh, I'll be happy to throw the spider out the window.
Throw the spider out the window.
Make an athletics
Nick,
check.
Nick, help me lift this thing up. Throw the sucker out this window.
You don't want to make a mess outside.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Is that a window right there?
Yes, it's a broken window. It's already broken, so.
Let me look out. What's down there? Anything?
You see an alleyway. And looking at the window, make an investigation check. You see a bit of that monofilament web that was stuck to the wall that was emitted from the creature. Stuck to the side. You can also see just outside along the side of the wall little puncture marks from where it looks like maybe the creature's legs held onto the wall as it climbed up and into the window. And then down below you just see some garbage. You see some boxes and crates. There doesn't appear to be anyone in the alleyway itself.
Well, look like it's garbage, so I'll help you. I help Byron pick it up and toss out the window.
So I get advantage trying to lift this thing up, or we can just throw it out?
Oh yeah, you totally lift it up with your combined strength. You're able to. It's heavy. It's a heavy bastard, but you're able to toss him out.
I want to look around.
Are you doing a test roll, Samael?
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if everything works.
No, everything is broken.
Alright, you guys each get 40 experience points for that encounter with Kelthrax. Kelthrax, the mechanical giant spider.
I got experience learning how to cast my spells.
I walk downstairs and look around to see if I can find traces of anyone being left around in the workshop or if it's completely desolate. So that's what I'll be doing.
Okay. Well, you see a couple of doors. You see there's a door immediately behind Samael, and then there's another door in the hallway there, close to where Zara is. There's also what looks like another stairwell close to Zara as well, beyond a door.
I want to look around. Do I see any signs like of struggle or anything that
the whole place is destroyed? It's all ransacked, we know.
Make an investigation check.
We need to send them a bill for extermination fee.
So Nicholas, you don't see any signs of struggle. You just see what looks to be something thrashing this place. Furniture is broken, tools are spread everywhere. There's broken barrels in the corner and crates. Siegfried, as you walk into this room, you see that it is absolutely filled with monofilament wire. And you actually have a hard time walking through the room as you step into it.
In the meantime, Zara is still sitting on the floor bleeding out. And she is going to cast Cure Wounds on herself.
Jeremy,
Yes, sir.
do I get the feeling that it was the spider or that somebody tossed the room?
You get the feeling that this was caused by something big, really big. And by big, I mean something as big as a giant mechanical spider.
Okay.
Siegfried,
Alright.
as you walk
That's
into
all I
this
get to
room,
do.
you see a bed. And it seems like this room has been untouched. Like
Interesting.
perhaps the spider couldn't fit through the door.
Fatty make fats a lot.
As you head down to the bottom of the stairs, Siegfried, you notice that the stairs end in a solid wall.
I'm gonna investigate the wall.
Go for it. Feeling your hands around the sides of the wall, it feels like there's a seam. And the seam seems to run all around the bottom of the staircase and up the sides.
I'm gonna tinker with it a bit to see if I can find a way to move it. Hey, you guys, this looks like there's seams around it. See if you find any buttons or switches.
Alright, alright. Zara's gonna also investigate the wall or aid.
Area around us.
Okay.
I'll go look in this room. Look for a button.
Byron, as you pass into the room, you see more of that monofilament wire. And it seems to get heavier the closer you get to the western wall. Like, it's almost impossible to go any further halfway through it, the room.
Is it cuttable or is it like wire or?
Reaching down and touching it, it doesn't feel like the typical gossamer silk that you've seen with giant spiders. This seems to be an artificial substance that is very tough. It almost feels like an actual metal wire. But it's
Can I cut them
very
and make my
thin.
way to the other wall?
It's like hair thin. But it takes you a little while, but you do manage to cut through it with your short sword.
I want to try to make sure there's nothing on the other side of this impassable wall of filament.
Zara,
Like
you
someone-
said you were going to help Siegfried with his investigation.
Yes.
I would say you can roll one with advantage if you're assisting him,
Alright.
since he already investigated and found the seam. And during this time, what are you doing, Samael?
I am creating a custom command for Leon.
Oh, nice. And what about you, Nicholas?
I'm kind of looking and observing to see how they're going to open this door. I guess,
Okay.
if that's what we think it is.
Zara,
I'm also kind of listening.
as you're looking at the wall with Siegfried and running your hand over the wall, on the side of the wall, you feel a little bit of a give, and as you pass your hand over it, you feel your hand go warm, almost unpleasantly so. And as you pass your hand over, you see an arcane sigil flare up. And as it flares up, the stairwell, which was slanted down, now moves upwards into a straight and level plane. And you hear grinding of gears as the front of the wall begins to open up and out and up, revealing another chamber.
Well, looks like I found something. Want to check it out?
Siegfried starts moving up.
Siegfried, as you enter into this chamber, you see a very odd sight. You see what looks to be metallic limbs, arms and legs, all over the shop, hanging from various hooks on the walls, some hanging from the ceiling. And you also see a forge similar to the one that was downstairs, but this one is a lot nicer.
Hello, is anyone here?
Is anyone gonna come down and talk to this inquisitive? As your voice
Nicholas, would you like to go down and talk to the Inquisitor? I mean, you are...
Well, I used to be one, so I'll try.
As I said, you are, wink, one of them.
Ah, yes. I'm gonna head back down.
Okay.
I'm coming!
Byron, as you continue to cut through, eventually you get to the end of the wall, and you find what appears to be a bit of a bundle that's spun up in this monofilament wire. And as try as you might, the bundle, which is about the size of a baby, try as you might, you can't quite cut it open. The wire is tightly wound, and it won't come loose. Trying to cut it with your sword is proving difficult. In fact, it seems like you're starting to ding the edge of your blade on this monofilament wire.
What did you find?
Either Siegfried or Zara, you're welcome to make another investigation.
I'll do it.
Could I aid him?
Sure. Roll it.
Hey.
There's a lot of metal arms and legs in this room.
But there's no people.
Siegfried, these arms and legs seem very familiar. You just can't quite place it. It's like there's a bit of a fog in your brain after being poisoned.
Zara suddenly feels better. From a lay on hands across rooms away.
That was like a mage hand lay on hand.
Yeah.
Well, I've closed out the map when I was creating all this by accident, so let's just assume I walked over there.
Samael, would you like me to roll, or would you like to roll an investigation as well? You see the same thing that they see, the arms and legs.
Sure, give me 1 second.
One Mississippi.
Yeah, looks like your dice tonight, Samael.
Yeah, what happened to that?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So
I've been sitting
there you go.
2s, 3s, 4s.
There we go.
You
Now
got a 4. There you go. The universe balances itself out.
Until it's
No,
my
it
turn.
does not.
20, and there he goes in that 20. Hey, thanks for wasting that nat 20.
Wasted.
No, if it's for something important, I don't roll good.
Look at that, I just got a 4.
Keep
Oh,
rolling.
goodness.
Keep rolling. See what happens.
Oh, there we go.
Alright. So I'm going to assume
Oh, there we go.
after rolling many perceptions and investigations, you guys tossed this room.
I only rolled the rest of them, which is I was hoping that was actually going to be a 1 for that perception, like something actually important.
Wait, so, yeah, I mean, Zara's just like, you know, she's looking around, she's paying attention.
She sees
She
Siegfried
has-
licking the ground.
I mean, she has, high passive perception. So, does she
She
notice
does.
anything else?
Yes, actually, right directly in front of you in plain sight, Zara, on a table, you see a journal.
Oh look, a journal!
I don't care about a journal. I care about finding the man in here.
As he proceeds to lick the floor.
I don't care about finding. I care about finding someone.
Guys, I found something. I think these floors are made of wood.
Meanwhile, Byron, you toss the rest of the rooms in this area. You don't find anything really else except for that bundle. You don't really find anything else of interest. Nicholas, as you head downstairs and out the door in front of the facade, Flizzy is talking to the city watch guard, and also another man has appeared, and it's a man that you recognize.
Oh, hey,
It is the inquisitive Barnabas from the train.
Barnabas.
Fancy meeting you here, lad. What are you doing here? Getting your nose in inquisitive business again, I see.
Yes, I just, I just
You
can't
know I'm
stop.
gonna have to report you, you know that, right?
Yeah,
I'm just
but-
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I appreciate you helping out this young lady. So tell me, my friend, what did you find out?
Well,
Clearly-
there was a giant.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go on.
Oh, well, there was a giant mechanical spider that was in rogue, and so we had to destroy it. But it looked like it tossed a little bit of the workshop. But we found another workshop on the 3rd floor, and we're just investigating that. So if you want to come along,
And the moment that you say that, Nicholas, Flizzy said, "You what? What did you find? Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold on. You didn't go in there, did you? This is completely out of the ordinary. And this has nothing to do with my uncle. We don't need to bother with the shop. Did you find anything else, please?" And she's now just sort of standing in front of the door, preventing you from going in.
well, if you let us do our job, we could actually find your uncle. And that involves looking around for clues of what might happen to him, and that is looking around the workshop. That is what we are doing.
Are you holding the box that you found while you're talking to her?
No.
Okay.
The mother box I grabbed.
Okay. Siegfried, you have the box?
Yes, I grabbed the box from it that was cut off by the arrows.
Okay. So Flizzy is sort of looking exasperated now, breathing heavily, and she's like, There's no need to go anywhere else in the shop. I just needed to know if my uncle was up there, and obviously you dealt with Kelthrax, which is fine, and now I can retrieve the recorder from his head.
I call down, "Hey, it's all clear. There's nothing else here. If you guys want, you can go get some coffee. Literally, we found nothing but wood."
You said the
Also-
recorder?
Also, remember, tell them that the spider is thrown outside on the side of the house in the garbage.
I love this back and forth between upstairs and downstairs that's going on. And make a persuasion check, Siegfried, with disadvantage because they can barely hear you. Okay. The workshop, you say, and the guard says, "All right, I need all of you to come down right now. All of you now. Come out here."
Hey guys, the guard wants us to come out.
Hey guys, they
Even-
want us to come out. I wait for
Even-
them all to pass by me.
It's in the closet.
Samael hides in the closet.
After Zara comes out, I try to hit the ruin to lock it back up.
I step out, but I take the journal and I put it in my bag.
Okay.
Sorry, I hope you don't take the man's journal.
Siegfried, as you pass your hand over the wall where Zara touched the sigil, you notice it glows, and the stairwell again descends and the wall closes up behind you.
Can I walk around to the alley?
Absolutely.
They're coming out now, and I kind of slowly step back and walk around the alley. I want to check the spider out. You said some kind of recorder.
Yes, the recorder. It would look like a box. It was in its head. You didn't find it, did you?
Oh, let me go check.
And do the rest of you exit the building as well?
Yeah.
Except for Samael,
Yes.
who's hiding in the closet?
Yes, I'll
The only one that
You're
can be
welcome.
out of this closet is Siegfried.
You all walk outside. Weren't there 5 of you? This is City Watch says.
I have no idea where he is.
I don't know. He disappeared. I think he yelled something about scared of spiders.
Well, this building is being closed off. Inquisitors are going to have to give it a thorough once-over. And Barnabas steps out and says, yes, fine, we'll get to that in kind. I need to speak to these fine people.
Well, if I may, it really just seems as if the man spider went mad. It according from what my friend here says, she seems familiar with the spider, so I'm gonna assume it was an invention. It
Did you
looked mad. It just attacked anyone that moved.
Did you find a body?
No.
No,
Not found a
we
body.
did not find anybody. We just found that spider.
Well, I sincerely doubt that the mechanical spider ate Dimble. But perhaps we can ascertain something from this recorder that this young woman keeps talking about. Did any
Well,
of you
I
find
will.
it?
I'd like to her and say, "Is the recorder important? What does it look like?"
It looks like a metal box with wires sticking out of it. It says on the side of it, warning, risk of electric shock.
I pulled out the box. It's like, "Is it this?"
Yes, that's it. Please,
I hand it to her.
Bring it over immediately. And
I hand it over to her. Also, the window up there is broken that we threw the spider out of, and it looks like it jumped from the wall in. But that's what has me confused. If it was something you're familiar with, which means you know of it, which means it was probably made by either your uncle or cousin or something, why would it be jumping from the outside in?
probably because it couldn't get in as normally the entire wall of the facade upstairs opens and it can crawl out on its own. But it has to be let in and out. And obviously my uncle's not here, which is why it freaked out, broke into the house. Probably destroyed everything upstairs.
Then that explains it. Maybe it saw someone attacking your uncle and it jumped in, but it was already too late. So
Maybe I can glean something from this recorder. And she begins fiddling with it. And as she's fiddling with it, and you watch as she takes a device from out of her pocket, and she inserts it into the side and turns it like a key, and you hear an audible click, and then you hear a whirring, and then you start to hear a playback, an audio playback, and you start hearing sounds like popping noises. Pop, 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 pop. And then you hear another voice saying, "Come now, let's not do this. You're outnumbered. Your spider's half dead. It can't help you. Come with us quietly, and we won't hurt you anymore." And then you hear the sound of a voice sounds like an elderly person saying, "I don't care who you work for. I'm not going to tell you anything, so there's no point in taking me wherever you're taking me. We'll see about that." And then you hear another final popping noise, this time much louder, like a explosive popping noise. And then you hear the old man whimpering, "Oh! Patch that up and kill that damn spider." And then you hear the sound of footsteps walking away, and another set of footsteps walking getting closer and getting louder. And then you hear the sound of, "Oh Jesus, still alive!" And then you just hear this scrambling noise and metallic clanking and the sound of the metal legs as this thing just starts galloping, the sound of galloping. And then the audio abruptly ends. And that's where we're going to end the session.
That was a good session. Wow.
Woo!
Yeah, it was good for a session number 2. You guys got to see the front of Gelf's House of Cheddar. You got to see Byron getting browbeaten by his future mother-in-law. You got to have a little aerial combat with some green goblins.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a fun encounter to design.
You got Siegfried to rough up a town's guardman.
And we have Siegfried licking the floor.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a tasty floor. Hang on, let me go back for a second.
Oh, and we have cakes.
And that was my first session with the personality of Grindelwald.